Me on the Lall Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Lall Show only on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
Road 99.1 FM.
Furby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
And it is 19 hours 20 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean. Hi there, welcome to the Monday edition of the Lall Show. It is Monday, June 5th, 2023, and we are ready to tell it as it is. And we're so happy that you can join us this evening. Remember, those telephone numbers, they are 226-745-324, 502-4749, 624-6456, and 622-2222. We've been standing the expense for quite some time, but through the permission of the boss, we'll continue to do such. Running low on credit, just hang up and we'll return the call. We'll stand the expense because, at the end of the day, it's to benefit you and the future generations. But that said, sir, namaste. I trust that you had an enjoyable weekend and you're ready to tell the people what you have to. Over to you, sir.
Namaste, Josh. Namaste. Yes, I had a great weekend. Last night I went out. Yeah, and I met some wonderful people. Thanks, guys. I gotta go out a little more, Josh.
Yeah.
Last night I went to a bar on the West Coast. Yeah, man. Very beautiful bar. We call the bar Eclipse. Yeah, man. Nice. Beautiful little bar. I don't know where all the bars are, but if you know of any nice one, you can call me. Let me visit them. We can go and have a beer at Coal Banks. You can join me too, Josh.
Sure.
Josh?
Yes, sir.
Namaste, guys. And thanks for listening. Thanks for being my companion every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I want to say thanks, a special thanks to those who visits my TikTok and make some comments. I love some of the comments. I'm so happy. I wish the listeners on this radio program can make some of those comments on air. I have decided, Josh, starting tonight, I'm not going to get upset or be offended anymore. It doesn't worth it, man. No matter how much these misfits do or say, Lall don't plan getting upset anymore. The doctor says my health comes first, and looking at my programs, the way I get on is very unhealthy for my life. So he tell me just, be calm. Be calm and try to acknowledge or accept what these misfits are doing, say it nicely and move on. So, Josh, I tell you namaste, right?
Namaste.
Yeah, man. I had a great weekend, and the peace in me, the joy, the divinity in me is so calm tonight. I just want to relax and go through. Okay, so we can get going now, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll first begin with the country, West African country called Ghana. Guys, Ghana is richer in resources than Guyana. Name the minerals, them have it more than us. They started pumping oil just about 10 years before Guyana. And guess what, Joshua? Last month, let me repeat, last month, Ghana went to the IMF with their begging bowl for a $3 billion US bailout. This is what the foreign criminals Yes, the oil companies in Ghana have done to them. Yes, and they have been doing it in all the non-white countries. They start out by corrupting the leaders, stealing the riches of the country, set them up for failure on projects, then tie up the country hand and foot with loans. The whole of Africa and Asia are in debt, living under a yoke like animals. This is where Guyana is heading, uncle and auntie. Right there we are heading. Africa's wealth has been and is continuing to develop the rich world, while the Africans have to borrow to eat and live. When a country with so much wealth is forced to beg the IMF and the World Bank for loans, then you know them depend on life support. What some people just call last lap. Yes, life support. Let's look at Guyana. Every day, all we're hearing from these misfits for leaders are about loans for this and loans for that. 150 million US from Saudi Bank for build bridge and houses in Linden. We reported that in the Kaieteur News yesterday. Today, the president is praising the Saudi government for approving the loan so quickly. I wish they were running to Exxon to negotiate that contract the same way they're running from pillar to post, borrowing. Borrowing. You know, Josh, I never see a man, praise a lender for tying his family and himself down. Like how this government praising Saudi Arabia for the 150 million for approving it so quick. Oh. Borrowing, uncle. Rather than going after Exxon and them foreign gold companies, they're running from bank to borrow more to indebt our country, me and you. And the opposition is dumb, they're blind, and they're deaf to all of this. Last week, my reporter asked Bara Jagdeo how oil money will develop Guyana. My gosh. This is the answer he gave, uncle. Please listen to him.
So it is managing what we get well and in a direction that will in the long run bear all the benefits and bring us to that world-class, first world stage that we want our people to live in. So investment in healthcare. So it's a combination of spending what we have and a judicious set of borrowing where we know based on future capacity we can repay.
Managing what we get well. Wow. Tell me, what are we getting from this oil and this gold that he has to manage well? If you ask me, every Guyanese is feeling unwell from what we get in. Not Glenn alone. Every Guyanese. And when you look at the secrecy of how they're managing it, we get more unwell, uncle. None of us seeing how the little crumbs we getting is being spent. Jagdeo, Ashley Singh and President Ali have never said, Guyana, this is how the oil money being spent. Oh, we will take this amount and we will do this with it. No, we never know anything. All you're hearing is they take out the money, throw it in the budget, and say it's for national development. Build schools, patch roads, this and that, and thief out 3/4. The opposition, on the other hand, saying their supporters not getting contracts. It's thief, both sides want to thief or get a piece of the pie, while me and you running, yes, me and you, not me, you running to go stay in your finger for them. Man, play him back, man. Play him back. Let them hear him.
So it is managing what we get well and in a direction that will in the long run bear all the benefits and bring us to that world-class, first world stage that we want our people to live in. So investment in healthcare. So it's a combination of spending what we have and a judicious set of borrowing where we know based on future capacity we can repay.
Wow. Managing well in a direction that will put us in that first world stage that we want our people to live in, Uncle. So it's a combination of spending what we have and a judicious set of borrowing where we know based on future capacity we can repay. Judicious set of borrowing, Uncle. You know what he means? He gonna borrow on we had a set of money in a sensible way to make Guyana into a first world country that he wants us to live in. That's what he means. We all know Jagdev in charge of the oil, the gold, the timber and everything else. It looked like he also in charge of the comedy shows and comic strips in Guyana. But he gonna borrow wisely so that we can become a first world citizen. Oh boy. Oh. When you listen to these people, I got to listen to my doctor after. He said, don't get upset. Since independence, we are becoming first world under the PPP and the PNC. We still living with almost 4 billion US debt that we can't pay. Water they up to we knee. Drainage can't clear. Garbage can't collect. You can't get a painkiller in the hospital. Yes. You're living in blackouts every day and night. And your children, yes, going to school with empty lunch kits. And all this wealth we have. Yes. That's the world. That's the world we have, or we are living in. Oh boy. The whole world boasting about we. This man still talking about a set of judicious borrowing to get citizens to live in a first class world. Like I said earlier, I am not going to get upset. And I think I'm doing well, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. When Jagdev don't come, when Jagdev doesn't come over as a joker, he gives the impression of a trickster. That has been his style, his nature, the only way of life he knows, tricking people. The Guyanese people I'm talking about. I hear they start sharing out school grant today. Some 40,000 every school child gonna get. Everybody gonna be happy in time for next week. For you gonna stay in your finger. School not closed yet, but they're sharing school grant. They just usually give the parents a little raise when school closes, and just in time for reopening of schools. Them get so tricky because they're feeling the heat on the ground, so them decide to throw out the 40,000 and give you. So I am going to run next week. Yes, for the saviors and stain of your fingers, or whatever else you want to stain. Exxon must he tell them, y'all don't wait. Give them the money quick, give them now. Sweeten them up to keep them quiet. 40,000 is good for them. If only you know, Auntie, 40,000 can be a daily change in your pockets, given the wealth alone. The oil wealth alone we got out there. The foreign nations were fetching out the oil. Their citizens collecting more than that every day from our oil. They don't have to wait for when school never give out $40,000. Them getting that every day. What Jack Dale said, you gonna manage well? And put Guyana where? Into a forced war just now? Is that what he said? Forced war bracket, man. America and China must be knocking, yes, must be knocking the most expensive whiskey. How they got Jack Dale and Norton and President Ali. And how them, in turn, got the Guyanese people with a fancy speech about handout here and a handout there. He gonna make Guyana into a forced war. And President Ali, they said one time before, Ogle gonna become Dubai. When I listen to these misfits, I think I'll be the next person going to the moon. I'll announce it before I go though, Josh. We becoming a forced world with what? With what, Auntie? 2% royalty? No taxes, no nothing? Uncle, even a child that just started out school last term, no better than that. All them African and Asian countries getting 12.5% with profits too, plus taxes. And look where they all are today. Without the wood to make any stage, more so a world-class stage. What Jack Dale talk about it just now. You guys see where these misfits taking all of us and this country? Y'all would never see the wood to build a stage when these misfits we have, along with the foreigners done with Guyana. Not even the wood. Then he said, Uncle, he will borrow based on what is to come in the future from the oil. That is like a man borrowing from his boss to Bingi to sport this weekend and hope the money he get next week gonna pay half the bill. This fool of a worker doesn't know if he falls sick or get into an accident and can't walk back for the rest of his life. The boss man gonna run away with his family plus his property. That is what the PPP is doing to Guyana, and the PNC clapping their hands on the sidelines. Borrowing, indebting this country, telling us he gonna spend it wisely. He counting the chickens before they hatch, Uncle. you have an oil spill out there, God forbid, and production slow down or come to a standstill, we will be at the World Bank and IMF just like Ghana, trying to restructure the loans and begging for more so that the country and its people can breathe. When you think about these people, Josh, when you think about these misfits we have, man, is everybody lending Guyana now? Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Japan, India, IDB, CDB, World Bank, IMF, the US and China Exim banks. Nobody is saying no to Guyana. Come quick. How much y'all want? And these misfits praising them while they're collecting it, tying all of we to debts. The Chinese corrupt the Sri Lankan president and pack loans and bankrupt the country. Today China take away a huge chunk of Sri Lanka along with their $2 billion US water port because they couldn't pay back the loans for the project. Knowing, they had known in advance that the port would have been a white elephant before it started. Just like what Vice President Jagdev planning for that Wales gas to shore project with ExxonMobil. That's another set of loans, judicious loans. Almost the same amount what Guyana's sitting on as debts since independence and killing we for pay. That project is going to cost us the same amount, uncle. 2 point something going on to 3 billion US. And yet we know nothing about that project. That's a worse elephant than the Skeldon plant. Pakistan and many other countries, after seeing what China did to Sri Lanka, were forced, yes uncle, they were forced by their citizens to cancel many projects in their countries and stop borrowing. Just not to suffer the same fate Sri Lanka suffering. The Chinese built an airport in Sri Lanka for a hefty sum, 200 and something million US, that can only accommodate part-time workers. Whenever a little plane fly in, that's when they got to work. I don't know if China take over that one too already. I didn't check on it, but they will take it over. Are you lucky I'll find? And flights coming in here so that CJIA bringing in a few cents. If not, China would have gone with it already. The few cents it making today with a few planes, Joshua, I doubt whether it is enough to repay the loans these misfits said I spend at that airport. But it's a debt on me back. What are you going to do? Uncle, auntie, Asian countries like India has put a stop and walk away from the exploitation by the white world. Today, India is on top, calling its own shots, developing its own country with its own resources on its own terms. Several countries across Africa are also waking up and standing up to the exploitation that they have lived, yes, that they have lived in and can't take it anymore. They are fed up, sick and tired of the white man robbing them. As Professor Lubumba said, the foreigners only come to your country to reap and rape. So they are now standing up and saying enough is enough. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Mortley. I want you guys to listen to this African Union ambassador to the US. She's talking about how Europe and America sat down together and came up with a scheme in which they parcel out Africa into several countries so that they can reap and rape those countries while leaving the Africans in poverty and slavery. You have it there? Yes. Play it, Dr. Arikana. Yeah.
1884.
Understand what's happening in this world and what the white folks did to the non-whites of this world. Play it for them. Let they hear.
1884. Fast forward 2019. Nothing has changed. The strategy that was put in place to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated remains alive and well. And yet in our minds we tend to think Berlin Conference is a thing of the past. Well, my brothers and sisters, Berlin Conference is alive and well. Have you ever wondered why intra-Africa trade is sitting at 18% with 43 different currencies on the continent? It's difficult to trade with each other because of the currencies. It's easier for us to exchange with the US dollar with the euro than with each other. Why is that, Berlin Conference? It's easier for Mozambique to send Mozambican oil outside Mozambique to Europe and everywhere else, just so Zimbabwe next door can buy it from across the oceans. It's easier for a company that's manufacturing the best ceramic tiles in Africa, in Egypt. That company sends its tiles to Italy, only for the Africans to turn around and buy the same tiles, 20, 30 times the cost. Why is it that we are not trading with each other? Why are our children crossing the Mediterranean in search of nothing? It's because little Gambia can only create so many jobs. And a young man in Gambia, which is surrounded by Senegal, cannot go to Senegal and look for a job. Question then becomes, if you look at all the issues we're dealing with today in Africa, one by one, every one of them relates back to the Berlin Conference and our inability to work together as one continent, one Africa, speaking with one voice.
One continent, one Africa, speaking with one voice. I think she's very clear there. Not much explanation I have to give, dear uncle. She said it is easier to send the African oil outside the process in which them have to buy it back. The refined fuel they have to buy back. Egypt produces the best tiles, but they can't sell it in Africa. It has to go to Italy And then the Africans have to buy it back from Italy 20, 30 times higher than the cost. This is what you call exploitation. Thieving out your raw materials, uncle. Polish it a little, and then you have to buy it back from them. The same thing is being done here in Guyana. Your wood, the best timber is going out. Your gold is going out. Your manganese is going out. Your bauxite is going out. And we have to turn around and buy it back from them at 100 times more. Manganese. The manganese we are using to clean our drinking water, we have to import it. Yes. And spend hundreds of millions in US dollars. While we got the Chinese fetching it out from Matthews Ridge for free. The bauxite, we importing everything that it makes. Same thing with the oil and the gold. You got more American jewelry in the jewelry stores than the locally made jewelry in this country. This is the way these misfits run country like a business, not like a cake shop, according to Barajagdeo. And if they do put their hand to process something in this country, uncle, like the gas, it's being done in a secret fashion. Yeah, the gas to shore project, we don't know nothing about it. Everything is being done in secret. Why are children always running away to make a living? You know why, uncle? Let me tell you why. An employee told me last week, I didn't even get a chance to take the story in the Kaieteur News, that Halliburton, an American company working on the East Bank, yes, right on the East Bank here, has hired a set of foreigners, paying them fat US dollars for work the Guyanese employees can do. Yes. Me and you can do them work now. That's another stage of exploitation. These misfits allowing to happen in this country. It's happening in the interior too. In our gold, our bauxite, our manganese companies. Go in and see how many foreigners working there. Doing work what Guyanese should have been doing. Check who the managers are and who are the bottle cleaners. Yes, the managers are foreigners and the bottle cleaners, the security guards and the cooks are Guyanese. I woke up this morning and the first thing came on my mind was how she ended that very inspiring speech, Auntie. Yes. When will we work together? That's what I woke up with in my mind this morning. The very first thing came to mind. When will we work together? And the first thing, I came to the office and said to one of my reporters, please ask both Aubrey Norton and Barajagdeo, plus President Ali, as well as Ramjatan, when will they sit around the table like brothers and work towards what can benefit the people of this country? Isn't it time, Auntie and Uncle, that you and me, all of us, call on these leaders to sit around the table, get on the same page with that crime of a contract and rip it apart so that this nation can really become what it should. Huh? What it should get, what it deserves from our own resources, man. Don't you think it's time for them to sit down and correct that contract? Every day, the air is filled with cuss down and abuse down, and the pulling down of one another. Isn't it time we learn from the exploitation inflicted upon the non-white world, that we sit together? Yes, that we sit together, put our heads together, and speak as reasonable men and women together, man. Huh? Guys, if they don't do that, then we are going nowhere but down the pit. At the same time, enriching the already rich world. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, uncle. We got to be on the same page or we doom. Man, nobody has to go to university for this. We are rich. We are filthy rich. Guyana should never be running to banks, or we should never be stretching our hands, collecting handouts, pittance, and charity. No, man. We should stop thinking like beggars and let's start thinking like lenders. We have the wealth. Just the leaders got to get their acts together and speak, like the lady just said, in one voice, as one voice, together as one Guyana. After all, this wealth is Guyana, is ours. I would love to invite them, all of them here on this radio, and let's have a frank discussion on the way forward together. It will be the greatest joy for me to see this happen. What about you, uncle and auntie? Could we demand that before you go and give them your vote, June 12, shouldn't we demand that from them? We have time for it. When they come around, you guys, ask them to commit themselves to sitting down together and coming up with a plan together. How to get the best for us all, uncle. None of us should be talking, including me, about what Exxon and the foreigners doing to us. We should have been talking about what we can get them to do for this country and all of us. That is what we should have been doing. Instead, it's the reverse. And every day it keeps going downhill. We are sinking deeper and deeper into a hellhole with no light at the end of the tunnel. Uncle, you heard what that African woman just said. Unless we speak with one voice, we are going nowhere. It's best we say nothing. You heard the passion, the energy in her voice, and you also heard the pain within her stomach. You know why, uncle? She went through it, still living through it, seeing the raw rank, and let me call it as it is, racist thievery going on in Africa and now going on here in Guyana. Uncle, at the beginning of the day and the end of it, It is crystal clear what is going on in this land. It's racist exploitation. End of story. But not the end of this program. It's racist exploitation, Uncle and Auntie, happening in this land. And the leaders, the misfits for leaders, are turning a blind eye to it. I want all of you to listen to the new Kenyan president, Mr. William Ruto. He was the vice president and became so fed up and sick with what was going on in his own government with corruption that he decided to speak out against his boss. Yes, the sitting president. And the president couldn't do him anything because the Kenyan constitution give him that kind of protection where he can tell the president, you're a thief. Uncle, I was in Kenya the same time, around the same time, just before election. He ran on his own and challenged his president and won. That's a leader after my own heart. I wonder if we have any in Guyana that can speak up against the wholesale thievery that is going on in this present government. Yes, the government circle. Or maybe they're part of the thieving too. I'm just asking. Did I tell you some leaders are waking up, Uncle? Yes, I did earlier. This is one of them. And he's going to take Kenya to the front of the line. When you listen to this man, you will hear that he's not ready to continue playing the white man game. He's done with that. He wants to be at the table, to dine, to eat and drink as equal partners with the white people and not be part of the menu they used to be for centuries. He doesn't want to be that anymore. Them used to be the menu where the white man used to eat them up and pass them through their behind. You would hear him say, Uncle, there is no benefit in being a gentleman anymore. You would hear him say, no more nice guy. You got to come and talk. Yes, you got to come and talk right. Please play them, let them listen to him.
We are going to occupy every space. And we have been gentlemen for far too long. We are now going to appropriate our place because we have a contribution to make. We want to be at the table because we are told the risk of not being at the table is that you could be in the menu.
Kenya's President, William Ruto, delivered a powerful keynote speech at the Third Pan-African Parliamentarians Summit on climate policy and equity. Listen closely to some of his thought-provoking sentiments.
Good people, let me ask you, who said that Africa cannot be part of the solution? That when Africa is being discussed, it's only being discussed in the context of the problems. Africa has 30 to 40% of the world's minerals, including those on which the green energy transition depends. The availability of these significant deposits makes a compelling case for Africa to be a global hub for manufacturing. All we are saying is we are coming with our assets, come with investment and technology, we meet halfway and everybody wins. That's all we are saying. Instead of exporting the iron ores and the bauxite to be processed in Europe and China, if the decision was reversed so that we still get the same steel, but this time round, it is processed in Africa, you don't have to transport the ores. Use the renewable energy in Africa instead of the fossil fuel and carbon energy in Europe. It is a simple decision. We will still get the steel for everybody, but let's change the paradigm. Instead of transporting iron ore and engaging in huge footprints of carbon, let us process the iron ores and the bauxite in Africa. And we are willing, once it is processed in Africa, we will sell the steel to our friends. We will do two things. We will have created jobs in our continent. We will have done green for everybody, green industrialization for everybody. We will have reduced emissions for everybody. And we will have contributed to solving this big equation of carbon emissions. Let me also say the following, that as nations, the whole reform agenda around the AU is a necessary imperative. It is not possible for us as states, as governments, to hold all the power and expect the African Union to function. We must be courageous enough, we must be bold enough to delegate some of the powers of our nations to the collective body of the African Union. That is what other progressive unions have done. We have made a decision, very respectfully as heads of state in Africa, that any engagement with other partners must be an engagement of equals. And for it to be meaningful, if we are going to meet the president of a country, we have organized ourselves that the Troika is going to represent Africa. The chair, the current chair, the past chair, the chair that is coming, and the heads of our regional economic commissions, about 6-7 people. But what happens? Continuously, when others want to engage with us, they don't want to deal with the Troika. They want to invite 50 heads of state. So we go to a meeting, just explain to me what kind of outcome you expect where 50 heads of state are sitting. Everybody is asked for speak to 1.5 minutes. You speak to for 1.5 minutes. What kind of engagement are you going to get? You're going to get nothing, right? The best that you get is photographs. That's it. Some of the people who invite us to these meetings tell us, if you don't come, there will be consequences. So, all of us are forced to go to a meeting that has no meaningful outcome because of blackmail. This is not right, good people. So, if you are one head of state and you want to engage all these people, surely, are you sincere? You know, in engaging in a crowd? Because some of these good people, they want to avoid any commitments, you know? They want to avoid any meaningful engagement. They just want a baraza and okay, pictures, and then we go. Dinner, and then... I mean, good people. We have food in our countries, at least. We can eat at home. We want to be at the table because we are told the risk of not being at the table is that you could be in the menu. Do you understand? So we are going to occupy every space. And we have been gentlemen for far too long. We are now going to appropriate our place because we have a contribution to make. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to me. I don't take it for granted. And God bless you.
You have leaders who can speak like that, Uncle and Auntie? I'm not hearing you. I just hear some of you through the radio. Wow. Wow. He is now going to take his rightful place at the table because at the risk, at the table, risk, his exact words, let me quote his exact words. He said he's going to take his rightful place at the table because at the risk of not being at the table, you can become part of the menu. Part of the food, Uncle. They're going to chew you up, eat you out, and then spit you out. That is what is going on in this country. Exxon and all the foreigners eating and chewing up lavishly and spitting the bones at us. Because none of our leaders is at the table. When we country is being discussed among the foreigners, is only problems you hearing, not the solutions. Africa, the man said, holds 40% of the world's wealth, and their living standards are the worst in the world today. Is only rape and rape going on in Africa, Uncle? And that is exactly what is going on in Guyana. Why do you think they're hiding these contracts? Why do you think Jagdeo hiding the expenses, the daily, monthly, yearly expenses of ExxonMobil from us? Is rape the raping we? While reaping everything. And all are you happy about that? Even the opposition are happy about that. They're not vibrant. They're not vocal. They're not speaking. They're not even hitting the streets to ensure that we see those expenses with those inflated bills. Them happy with the crumbs. I am told that 3/4 of them in the PNC is not happy. They're not happy. But they can't say nothing. If not, they're going to get shy out the party. Same thing with the PPP. 3/4 of them can't say nothing. Not a single word. Today, we are the richest country per person on earth with oil alone, Uncle. And every day them chaps running to the banks for loans. While are you going to run to vote for them? Jagdeo was asked by the international people to cap the interest rates. Why isn't he capping it? They're walking away with 5 times of what Guyana is receiving every year on royalty and profit alone. Them walking away with billions in interest rate alone, uncle, while we collecting couple of $100 million. And we misfits, yes, going to the bank to borrow $150 million to build bridge and a few shacks to put to put a few brothers and sisters in Linden in a home. Shacks they call a home. And of course, all of them jump in for joy when they hear that. The president said, we have the wealth. And if they come with their technology and their tools, we must meet halfway. I fully agree with that. If you come with the technology, we must meet halfway, where everybody can come out a winner. That's what you just heard there. It didn't say Guyana must come out a loser or Africa should come out a loser. Like Guyana, like Exxon walking away with 98% and left 2%. No. This is worse than what is going on in Africa. Like the African ambassador, the lady you heard just now, this president is now saying they have been fetching out the iron ore. Uncle, iron ore is the raw stone to make steel. That is what they're fetching out overseas. And the Africans got to turn around and buy back the steel from them country. When it can be done right there in Africa, providing jobs, and them can sell it whatever price they feel like to make profit. Same thing with our wood here. All these foreigners fetching out the logs. They should have been processing it right here, creating jobs for our people, and be able to sell us here what we want. Instead, they're carrying it away. And we got to turn around and buy back we own wood from overseas. You see how this thing is simple? I have been writing about these things many years ago in the Kaieteur News. If you all just Google it, it's there. They're signing contract. In the contract says you must do processing here. But nothing is being done here. They just come for get a contract signed and they do their own thing. Nobody following up. Nobody following up what's going on with these contracts. So the people just picking up the thing wholesale and going with it. Them even turn around buying from the local wholesale and carry it. So they are getting help by we own people to fetch it away. And when I had complained about it, showing pictures how every week 200-300 container filling them ships, they come out and say, they get the people in what's the place name? Not far from Linden. Kakwani. They get the people in Kakwani to say how the Kaieteur News running out by Shenlin and putting them out of business. The government get the people for say that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know. The Kenyan president said the heads of state in Africa have made a decision that any engagement with other partners must be an engagement of equals. Equals, you hear the word, uncle? Exxon meet with Trotman and some others in the coalition? Yes. And they are Exxon equals that signed the contract. That's what we are living with here today. The coalition didn't see it fit to say, you know what? We don't know about oil. Let's do some research. Let's talk to Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, or even Trinidad before we enter into signing any contract, or even enter into a negotiation. No. Them could even go online and spend 5 minutes and see what happened to many of the African oil countries, including the Asian oil countries. These misfits went in a room and just. I don't know what they did in the room or what happened in the room with Exxon. But I know they signed away Guyana to Exxon. And now Bara Jagdeo, President Ali, is not seeking help to correct the wrongs the coalition did. They're not going to Saudi Arabia to ask them for help, who are one of the biggest producers of oil on earth today, how to get his contract changed. They went to Saudi Arabia to borrow 150 million loan for tie your head more or your neck, for choke you more. Joshua, I don't know which room Exxon took them in. And what took Jagdeo and Ali in. And what they also did to them, because they're not moving towards correcting any wrongs with that contract. President Ali said, I don't know where he stands or where he is sitting. President Ali I'm talking about. When it comes to this oil sector. I know for sure he's talking about Bora and Baji with foreign journalists. And now he's talking about growing coffee with Brazil to bring money to give you. Yes, maybe he can give you a little more handouts. Or a little more handouts, I should say. If the coffee business with Brazil becomes successful. That is why he went to Brazil last week or the other week he went? The president said, the Kenyan president said, if they're good people, they would want a one-on-one discussion. They wouldn't want to invite all the heads of state and allow them to talk for just 1 minute. You know, I love what he said. The only thing that comes out from these types of meetings is good photographs. And he's damn correct. When you look at some of the photographs with some of our misleaders borrowing and signing lopsided deals, you got to say they're good photographs. You can see them in the newspapers, uncle. The man said we are going to occupy every space we have. You heard him said that. He said we have been gentlemen and gentle ladies for too long. We are now going to take our rightful place at the table. We have a contribution to make. His last words in that speech, uncle, that's what he said. We have a contribution to make. Uncle, let both the PPP and the PNC know that they have to accommodate us, me and you at the table, because we all have a contribution to make too. After all, every blade of grass in this country is ours. It is time you call on them, uncle, to sit down at a table in which they can engage us. Yes, we the people as partners. If they can't do that, then I did a TikTok today. If you got a chance, let somebody pull it up and show you. Show them the right finger, June 12. You hear what I said there? Show them the right finger, June 12. With that, Josh, let's take a few phone calls. People getting confused, Uncle. People getting confused and mixed up with this parent company guarantee. Let me make it simple for you, much simple. Parent company guarantee is a piece of paper, Uncle. Exxon got to sign and give us. That says they're going to compensate we and pay for all damages caused by an oil spill and fix back Guyana. That's how simple it is, man. Please don't get confused over it. That's it. That then costs Guyana a cent or ExxonMobil a cent. It's like you lend your neighbor, son your car, and you tell the neighbor daddy to sign a document and hand you that if the son crash it and kill anybody, them must pay for everything and buy back the car. That's how simple this thing is. And this is what Jack Dave is fighting against. Protecting Guyana, Uncle. You know, I saw a video in which Aubrey Norton stretched out his hand to shake a citizen's hand. And the person watched him straight in the face and bluntly refused to shake his hand. I feel so bad for Norton. If somebody do me that, I'll really feel terrible. I am told that is happening to Bharat Jagdev too. But nobody ever captured it on tape. But I did see for myself at Movie Town one day. I took my grandchildren. He was walking around and no one paying attention to him. You get phone calls or you want me to have a good night? Let me repeat, Uncle. If they don't sit down with eggs on between now and June 12, man, I just sit down in your home, cock up your foot on your veranda and show them the right finger. You know, I love how the Africans and the Asians are standing up against the white world today. I love it. Take the calls if you get them.
Yes.
Enough is enough, Uncle. You people got to start standing up. You got to start standing up here too. Get it?
That was it.
You have to start standing up here, Uncle.
226-7453, 502-4749, 622-2222, and 624-6456.
It's a beautiful Monday evening.
It is indeed, sir.
And I could do well with going home early tonight. Uncle, I gotta stand up, you know, man. If I don't stand up, nothing will change in this land. And you people in Linden need to understand that them shack these people borrowing money, tying the entire Guyana down to bill. You doesn't worth that. You worth mansions to live in, Uncle.
Hello, good night.
Caller, good evening.
Yeah. Hello? Good night to you and the panel.
Good night, sir.
Yeah. Well, for me, when they come wrong by me, they got to know that they got either to change the deal or I'm voting for nobody.
I hear you, brother.
Thank you.
I hear you, brother. I hear you loud and clear. Loud, loud, loud and clear, I hear you. Hold on, I got 2-3 missed calls here. Good evening. You're live on the radio.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
So there's a scripture in the Bible say that you should lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. I guess we have to educate the leaders that even to the Holy Book speaks about borrowing. And also, Guyana is so rich with all resources. Without oil, we still have the best soil in the world, one of the best soil in the world. And they usually compare us to Dubai. They always say that Guyana is little Dubai. But I really think that Guyana is little Doombai. Like, we are dooming this nation. Have a good night.
Thank you. You should send me that scripture in the Bible, and I'll send it to our leaders. How not to learn to borrow. Yes, I fully agree with you, girl. It's a Doombai country, not a Dubai country. Dubai is a flat desert. Nothing grows there. I shouldn't say nothing. They're planting, they have this palm tree only grows there. Wow. Wow, it's so sad. It is very sad. Let me return these calls. We have nothing. We have so much and yet nothing. Yes, good night.
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead.
The president coming in as Kibu. He building Carlin Center and other places. Before he built, tried to get there was a treatment plan for us or the people in the region too. He going up the Carlin Center. What nonsense is man going on with?
Call centers is for poor countries. Call centers is where you pay labor cheap. It's the cheapest labor you can find in the world. That's where you go build call center. This is what President Ali and Jagdeo Norton them promoting in this country, call centers. Call centers is all over India and Sri Lanka and in some African countries. Where businesses look for cheap labor, the cheapest labor. You just pay them $1 a day and $2 a day.
You know some people, right? They say when you tell them about still right, can accord them God for them. You know what they say? Not like that can happen. So we ask them if them a God for no if that can happen.
Well, that is the story. That is the story. ExxonMobil selling to Jagdeo them and the opposition, and they're buying that. Like ExxonMobil is God to know that there wouldn't be an oil spill. Well, if there isn't going to be an oil spill, or there will never be an oil spill, my friend, why don't they sign that document taking on the responsibility of compensating Guyana? Tell those same Guyanese who are talking like that, push that in their face.
Yeah, they're saying because the judge is in a rush. The judge don't want to hear about your financial capability.
Exactly. We want to see it.
You know?
We want to see a signed document. We want bind you. We want to bind you legally to it. And you know what? Let me tell Guyana this. Even if you're buying ExxonMobil parent, you hear me? To that, they will fight you to the highest court in this world just not to pay you. They have done that throughout the oil countries they work in. You hear me? They have done it all over. They have done it in their own country, the United States, brother. 26 hold on. 26 years it took the United States government to fight ExxonMobil, fight them. And when the judge ordered $5 billion US compensation, ExxonMobil fight them down to $509 million US only.
Wow.
And that is their own country, their own people. Just imagine what they're going to do with me and you, colored people.
Yeah. They're going around and begging people for vote. And said you wouldn't understand. What are you going to understand? Nonsense?
Go out and ask them tomorrow. Shout at them and ask them why they're not changing the contract. Why we're not being protected from an oil spill. Why they're not capping interest rates? Why they're not ring fencing these projects, man? I keep telling you to ask these people. Ask them why they're not sitting down together with the opposition and speak as one voice to change this contract. You go out and ask them tomorrow, man.
Yeah, but guess what? By Jack Deal, when he talking everything mix up, and the people don't believe he. Oh, they're so stupid.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, brother, thank you, man. Yeah.
I am so happy that these people understand what's going on. I am so happy. Oh, my brother, I'm so happy. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Do we have any more calls or no? We call it a night? Huh? Yeah, man, like I said, if you're not going to get the phone now. I have one call. All right.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Hello, sir.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
You know what we are hearing comments. I'm of the opinion.
Raise it.
Could you speak up for me, sir?
I beg your pardon?
Could you speak up for me?
Yes. All your English comments and months are going weeks into months. And this thing I can go ahead into years. You know. And like no change thing in the court at all. You know. I'm of the opinion that we got to close down the East Bank and the East Coast. I know how that's going to happen. To get these government people to understand that these two parties have been there for the donkey years and they're going to after another set of mule years. And the citizens ain't going to make no change. I don't know what we're going to do. If you ask how are we going to get these to understand how we're going to change these parties, I don't have no solution. How are you going to get these people not to stain their fingers and these kind of things? I don't know where the change is going to come, sir. I don't know how. They tell you the other day they said the other day go and form your own party. I'm of the opinion something like that got to happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen. That must be the only way it gotta happen and show. I don't know. You know, as year come the same thing we're going through. Mr. Lall is trying, but how to convince these Guyanese people? Eh? You know. Maybe another night I'll come with another solution. Right now, some nights when I really want to say something, I don't get through. Now I finally got through. I'm running out of thoughts and words. But some nights I get some nice thoughts that'll be very good for the public to hear.
Write them down.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. That's all I can say for that. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. This country should come to a standstill. This country should have already been at a standstill to send a message to the entire country, to the entire politicians, including ExxonMobil. Good evening, sir. You're live on the radio.
Hi, good evening. I heard a person had talked about the borrow and this. The good book had said that's you could find out that in the good book of Proverbs. It's chapter 22.
All right.
It said borrower is a slave to the lender. Imagine though. You guys, we got all of this iron.
Yeah.
We got and borrow.
Yes.
If we slave to the lender, that's what happened in Sri Lanka.
You know, and the thing that caught my eyes today, right, was that President Ali is praising Saudi Arabia to approve the loan so quick. Could you believe this thing? A president tying rope around the children's neck in this country and praising the people for lending.
And look at this next thing. If I build a house, I insure it for fire, right? And say I pay my premium for 1 year. Next year I ain't pay. And that's how I did. And if my house catch a fire, now I would tell myself I would fight the insurance company.
No, you can't fight them.
To the court.
You can't fight them.
But in other word, I'm saying, Why wait till a spill and saying that you would fight them in court?
Well, hold. Let me clear that piece up. What Jagdev is doing, he's fighting against the judge who ruled that Guyana should get this signed document, this legal document from the parent. You understand? And then turn back and tell the nation, man, well, if anything happen, I will carry them to court.
Here they say, how many years it took Nigeria to fight and then they lose the case?
Many years. I think that case went 13 years.
So by the time the all we dead, rotten and smell in Guyana.
Jagdev. He, not me. He.
Anyhow, thanks very much and keep boxing it, man. Keep pushing the punch.
Go stay in your finger, you know. You gotta stay in your finger.
Nah. Me want to hear nothing about that. I met one of them this month.
Thank you, brother.
When I talked to him, I said, what's now is about 60 years. Me and thinking about me, grand and the future children.
Thank you.
He telling me, here we using the word that African man. He said, yes, those are misleaders talking. They mean the ruling people, who ruling now. He self-addressing them as misleaders. And he is a parliamentarian.
I hear you, brother. Thank you. Yes, good evening, sir.
Pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Lall.
Good evening.
I want to make a comment on the verse from the Bible that the caller just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like me to share with you what it says? It says in Proverbs, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender.
Yeah, Guyana is a slave. Guyana is a slave to America right now, and China.
You've been saying that from day one.
Mm-hmm.
That we become slave to the oil companies, to the leaders. So you've been saying what the Bible been saying forever.
Every day they're borrowing. Thank you. Every day they're borrowing. Yeah. Every day they're borrowing. Every day. Every single day. Yes, sir. Good evening. Let's take your call and go.
Yes. A few comments I would like to make.
You take over the program.
No, I wouldn't be that long. I think last week Friday you had mentioned that while you explained to us that you were having you had text Jagdev when Jagdev was texting you back, and he said that you were playing a Messiah or something to that effect.
Yes.
Well, you know something? It is true because this guy recognized that they are on the wrong side. And just like how Christ is the Messiah and he's yet to come, I believe he's equating you to that duty. And so he is actually accepting the wrongs that are going on here, right? That's one comment. So he's he's actually accepting that.
He's lifting me up. I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you.
And then I would like to ask this question, that since this is another loan that they are running to borrow, did he make it public as to the rates at which we are borrowing this loan or not?
No, none of these loans. That's a beautiful point you raised there. None of these loans come with terms and conditions so that we can see. So that we can know what is behind there. Many of these, listen, that's a very beautiful, touchy point you raised there, my friend. Many of these loans on these, wait. Many of these loans that they are taking on these projects comes with clause, comes with a percentage that we don't know, and clause that are very, very dangerous to Guyana and all of us. So, some of these projects, like that airport project, that CGIA project, I think they have a clause that if Guyana doesn't fall short on payment, they can take it over.
Yes, I think you mentioned that already.
Yes.
Well, this is concern, guy. And you should be concerned about these kind of arrangements. How can you claim when you are in opposition and all the time in your speeches that you're transparent and you're accountable and all of the good words, and then you can't disclose to the nation? According to Professor Lumumba, you have a duty to the nation, and if the people are asking for these disclosures, I don't say anything is wrong with that. I mean, I could understand, like in the case for security reasons, we don't want to know what are the plans and so on. I mean, those things are very sensitive materials. But when it comes to the loan, I think Guyanese should be able to get an answer. I mean, like you, the press association, people from the media should be able to get that kind of information without a hassle.
Yes.
And this is really cementing this kind of a tyrannical, right, if I should use that word, of who this guy really is.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse, you know. So that is why the guy that you had mentioned, you had played the tape some time ago, when the man talk about democracy and all this thing, the man says sheer BS. And I have come to that state now that I don't recognize that word anymore. I don't want to hear that word anymore. There's no democracy in this place. They're fooling the people.
Yes.
And you know, we get some aunties and uncles, they're sitting down in them room and they're living room listening to this program, or they're viewing you on the internet and so on, and they must be talking, says, what wrong with that chapter? What he talking there? They're so loyal to the wrong things. They have become so ingrained in this thing. This brainwashing has been taking place for so many decades now.
That one,
and the people.
That one, I'm not in agreement with you on that one. I know many uncle and auntie woke up already, and
well, I'm glad. I hope I'm wrong.
And listen, I've been talking to some of them, and I know. Right? They love what they have. You see, they had love for the PPP. They had love for people like Barnum and Desmond Hoyt and Chetty Jagan. Now the leaders they have, they're seeing that most of them are criminals, they're thieves. But you raised a very good point there, a question to which I'll have my reporter ask them. You see, there are so many questions to be asked, to be put to these leaders, that sometimes when you don't know which one takes priority, you know. But these contracts is very important, and even if they put the contracts, my friend, you know, as I sit here, I remember Winston Brasington, the man who President Ali put to head the gas to energy project at Wales. Right? He was heading the Amelia Falls Hydro project that they were going to that they were going ahead with. He was having a press conference at the Pegasus or the Marriott boardroom, in which this man was talking to the international people, including the media, and running the slides behind him on a TV screen, and saying one thing, and the slides behind him, the contract have something different, completely opposite. Right? So even if they tell you with the contract, you just can't believe them. You have to see the contract. I have to see the contract. Like I keep on saying all the time, you cannot trust these people's words. They lie for everything and anything. They cannot be trusted.
Well, that is one of the things that I think they should be called out upon for withholding information such as the loans and what the rate they are paying and all this kind of thing. It is very disgusting, man, at this stage and this age, when people are coming to understand how they are operating, and yet they are still holding these secrets, and that raises up a lot of. There's a, you know, when you get into that, it's a whole realm of situation you got to be asking. So I, as a Guyanese and as a citizen of this country, I am very much concerned about that. And I would like to say to the Guyanese people that in light of all of these things we have been hearing and you've been talking constantly on the air, y'all should know that June 12th is coming up and I should do the right thing. Right? I don't know if you all want to do the One Guyana initiative and probably vote for all two of them. You know, that's my initiative, right? So, sir, I'd like to leave you here now and keep up the good work. And I look forward for Wednesday and Friday coming up.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You have a good night too. You know, every time you hear a contract, you know, and I remember that hydro document that Winston Brasington telling us, oh, we don't have to put no money and we don't have no risk, right? No big risk. And behind on the document have all the most dangerous risk Guyana left with it. That if an earthquake, if a natural disaster damage or broke up the hydrofile, Guyana got to pay for that. There is no risk. This is what these people does to your uncle and auntie. And that same Winston Brasington had the nerve to sue me 19 times. Now me don't talk too much. I don't pay much, 40-something million. And I got a couple more in the court. But I wish I could have repeat what you sue me upon. I wish I could have repeat them. But I want you to know, everything I said there, I believe in it. And it was the fact, the truth. Yeah. Oh, Winston. Oh. Hold on, I have a Hog Island caller here. Yes, sir, good evening.
Good night.
Good night, sir. You promised to come and walk the walk with us, and I didn't see you leave Hog Island. I know Hog Island ain't got no road. That's why I invited you on the road to walk.
Yeah, but I'm gonna come on. Last 22, man.
Oh, the Exxon didn't cut it off by chance.
Nah. What for sure, you know, this big government, you know, is what kind of government we got. Imagine they had a meeting last week, Friday gone at Lenora.
Mm-hmm.
They were calling me again and telling me, like, about 2 o'clock on 12 o'clock, and telling people, come out to the meeting 5 o'clock Friday afternoon. Or we will go to that meeting. Or we will travel from there when that meeting finish to reach back to Agala. What really right now with the president? And we vice president. Them people like who body. Them like who really we got in this country running.
You got to go stain your finger for them, brother.
No, brother, not me, man. Me don't tell you ready, man. That me not gonna forget. Beg them for a job, you nobody. What me doing? The nation God for it. And me thank God for the health and strength. You know, because me believe everything what you say. In this time here, because ever I still pass in we country, which means we done in this Guyana country done. We beautiful country done. Yeah.
It's not only we country, brother. It's the whole.
We whole Caribbean on
yes.
We neighbors them.
Yeah.
You understand me? And the people is not doing nothing at all for doing nothing. I know enough for them, enough for the supporters them. Nobody done ready for all out. People only want to pay who is the next president. But nobody no want none from them two parties. None. Me the AP and you man, me tell you.
Well, hear this.
No want none of them from them parties.
Well, hear this.
We want a new president to run the country.
Well, hear this. We're gonna find one. We're gonna find one. And we're gonna find a good one. Trust me, we're gonna find a good one. Yeah. Exactly. God will smile on Guyana and give us that right leader. Trust me.
Yeah, my brother. Yeah,
I believe.
Me just praying for that. Me praying for that.
I hear you.
Because And they tell you, land me want a marriage up in Guyana for mess Mr. Barrett that be up because he's a scampish man. He's very scampish man. He can't not stick into your words, man.
Yes, exactly.
Not stick into your words. What are we lying? When you tell him, when you put it on the pair and say, well, here, well, then talk about negotiation. But we hear it from program with them. We hear it from program. And they can't run from that. And they say, but you telling you this thing in the nation, that kind of thing. Them people is no good.
You know, if wasn't...
There's a little cocaine in here for look after. The door from out from camp over 1 year and more. And they can't look after that, they can't fix that. Maybe we talk stadium meeting when the leader when they got here, or the chairman or whoever, they tell us steady about it. That can't look.
Sometimes the chairman can't do it himself. He gotta get approval. He gotta get the money to do it. You understand?
Yes, sir, but he getting a pay for it when the month up.
Yeah, but if he doesn't get the money from the government to fix the coker, he can't take his pay to fix it. You understand? So don't vex with the chairman.
Yeah, so I mean out there. But
Okay.
you know, let me show you what we really mean for them.
Show me, man.
He got a certain amount of a grantage boundary out. The coca check thing says, right?
Yeah.
Let me say like 18 grand thing we within here. Now the one coca got to look after this 18 grand thing, right? Good, let me say water coming from 400 rad. Some of them get drainage still up 400 rad. Now, if we coca door not properly, we all can get a flood. Up to the other day we farm flood out here. But who you gonna tell? Guy you bring the chairman and show you, it's just waste time. Once them one side dry, them other side one side dry, them okay. We like the pig, we got for root. Alright, my brother, I thank full. Give me a little hearing.
I love you.
Yeah, I just always listen to you, man. Keep up what you're doing, man.
Thank you, brother.
We will get it. When you
Thanks.
talk, I believe that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night to you, my brother.
Good night. We're going to find a good leader, brother. Trust me. We're going to get a good leader. Joshua? Yes, sir. That's it. I just wanted to repeat this one thing that I love. To all Guyana. Uh-oh. Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Lall, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I'd like to say, I want you to keep up the good work you've been doing. You know, you're the only person I could say, that been pressing the government and demanding what you actually think is right. Because the opposition is not doing anything. We don't have nobody in civil society that is really doing anything either. It just seems like you alone is doing all the work.
Well, I am just educating the nation, brother. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, that's why I want
Thank
you
you.
to keep it up.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Even though we have people that still might be doubting you, they're aligned to one side of the political strata already. So they're doubting you, but they could only see as far as they know. They can't see further than that.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
I just want you to keep up the good work. And one more point, it's very shocking to see that the government could actually appeal, the AG could actually appeal that case. These people are not patriots. These people don't like Guyana. These people don't love the country they born in.
They gotta work.
They love the country. They would stand up for it. But they look like they just whoever come with a fair share or a fair offer, they're ready to give it to them.
The AG is working with instructions, brother.
Of course. Well, everybody who has eyes to see will see it.
Yeah,
it's instruction he's working with.
Yeah, so I am not upset with the AG. The AG himself didn't go to court. He said, "One of them young lawyer within the office forgot to tell him."
It's real shocking to see the leaders of this country.
Yeah.
For take those routes. Defend something was really unjustifiable because you have a company was a multi-trillion, multi-billion-dollar company, and they can't put up. They just want to give word of mouth. We want to see things in black and white, you know, word of mouth.
That's right. That's
Word
right.
of mouth doesn't make any sense. Anything happen, you could always say something else. We want to see things in black and white.
They are a set of racist people, my friend. We are non-whites. You think they could have done that to a white country?
No other part of the world they could go. They can't go in no part of Canada.
Exactly.
No ABC country and do those things.
Exactly. They cannot do that to a white world or a white country. But because we are colored, we are black, brown, and purple, they can do, yes. Our leaders allowing them to do us anything and everything, when them like and how they like. Yes. Yes.
The people should really
all
be
because some of their supporters, their attachment to the past is greater than their commitment to the future. The politicians.
In the worst case scenario, these people that will migrate, they will leave Guyana. They have their money already set, so they will leave Guyana. It's only the people, the ones that are going to vote, they will be the ones that will be suffering. The ones that are going to run a vote and who voting for red, who voting for green, these are the ones that are going to suffer.
I want all of them to know that the politicians are being paid while they are being played.
Exactly. Every month they have a fat salary with a lot of perks.
Yeah.
And a lot of incentives. While the ones who are arguing and fighting and debating on who's red and who's green and who's blue, let them try with that.
Thank you so much, my friend. Have a good night.
Okay, Mr. Lall.
Thank you. Like I said, June 12 coming. Please go out and stain your finger for them. Yes. Or you can show them the right finger when I don't vote. If I vote. Have a great night.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Most countries are rich. The Philippines are rich.